Every myth begins with the illusion that life is steady, that the ground beneath your feet will hold, that the story you tell yourself is the full story. But that illusion never lasts. It breaks the moment you are betrayed or abandoned, or shaken by a collapse you didn't see coming. And that breaking is not just an accident of life. It is the opening. It is the moment you cross the threshold without even realizing it. Suddenly you are no longer standing in the world you knew, but wandering in a place that feels both familiar and strange. The ancients called it the labyrinth. It does not announce itself with a trumpet or a gate. It is not made of stone corridors or endless walls. It begins in confusion and disorientation, in the silence that unsettles you because you can no longer trust what you thought was certain. Like the initiations of shamans who were said to be torn apart by spirits before being remade. Entering the labyrinth feels like the slow disintegration of the self you once believed in. The world is no longer flat, the story no longer simple, and you yourself are no longer whole. This is where the descent truly begins. The tale of Theseus and the Minotaur comes from the myths of ancient Greece, preserved by Plutarch Apollodorus and later retold by Ovid and Euripides. According to legend, King Minos of Crete once received a bull from Poseidon as a divine sign of legitimacy, but instead of sacrificing the animal back to the god, Minos kept it. As punishment, Poseidon placed a strange desire in the heart of Minos' wife, Persephone. She turned to Daedalus, the greatest engineer of the age, who built her a wooden cow in which she could hide. From that unnatural union came the Minotaur, a creature caught between man and beast, born not of love but of transgression. To contain the shame, Daedalus was ordered to construct the labyrinth, a prison so complex that even its maker barely escaped. The Minotaur was hidden at its center, and so was the curse that weighed on an entire lineage. After Athens lost a war to Crete, the city was forced to send a tribute every 9 years. 7 boys and 7 girls sacrificed to the maze. Theseus, prince of Athens, volunteered to end this horror. Ariadne, daughter of Minos, fell in love with him and gave him a clue of thread, a symbol of fate and return. With it, Theseus killed the Minotaur and found his way out. But he left Ariadne behind, and in his haste he forgot to change the black sails of his ship. His father, King Aegeus, saw them and believed his son was dead. In grief he threw himself into the sea, which has borne his name ever since, the Aegean. It is a tale not only of bravery but of blindness. Theseus won with the sword, but not with the soul. He escaped the labyrinth, but he never became whole. The Minotaur, sometimes called Asterion, the Starry One, was not merely a monster. Its very name links it to celestial power, as if to remind us that what we cast into darkness often has a divine origin. It was born of vengeance and pride, of human defiance and divine punishment. But deeper still, it was the product of refusal. Minos' refusal to sacrifice, Persephone's refusal of restraint, Daedalus' refusal to resist complicity. Civilization itself created the monster it wanted to bury. This pattern repeats across cultures. The golem, created to protect, becomes a threat. Frankenstein's creature, abandoned, seeks revenge. Even Can, the first murderer, is cursed but also marked as sacred. In Jungian psychology, the Minotaur is the shadow. It is not evil by essence but twisted by repression. Whatever we exile becomes monstrous. Whatever we deny returns stronger. The Minotaur is not your enemy. It is your mirror. The labyrinth is more than a mythic prison. It is an archetype found in Minoan carvings, Egyptian temples, Etruscan tombs, Indian mandalas, and Nordic stone patterns. The classical seven-circuit labyrinth predates Theseus by centuries and was often used as a ritual of pilgrimage, a symbolic descent into the womb of the earth. Psychologically, it is the journey inward. Jung described the psyche as layered. The persona, your mask to the world. The shadow, what you repress. The anima and animus, your inner opposites. And the self, the totality of what you are, both known and unknown. Walking the labyrinth is the process of individuation, the painful confrontation with your unconscious. It is conflict, disorientation, and sometimes madness, but it is also transformation. The labyrinth is not meant to be solved. It is meant to be walked. Again and again until the path itself reshapes you. The labyrinth mirrors the ancient rites of initiation, the rituals of death and rebirth that shaped human culture for millennia. Among the Samburu of Kenya, boys endured pain and isolation to become men. In Aboriginal Australia, symbolic death opened the dreaming. In shamanic Siberia, the soul was said to be dismembered before it could learn to heal. Even in Greece, the Eleusinian mysteries demanded fasting, silence, and descent, echoing the journey of Persephone into the underworld. Modern life has polished these ancient ordeals into diplomas, job titles, and motivational speeches. But true transformation still costs you everything familiar. The labyrinth forces symbolic death, the death of certainty, of ego, of inherited identity. Only then can something sacred rise, not as a reward, but as recognition. Every tale of enlightenment begins in solitude. Moses wandered the desert. Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree. Jesus fasted in the wilderness. Why is it always alone? Because the inner path cannot be shared. Jung warned that even a therapist cannot walk it for you. They can only point. To confront your shadow is to discover your own light. The labyrinth isolates not to punish, but to reveal. Only in solitude can you hear what silence is saying. When Daedalus built the maze, it was never meant to guide, only to conceal. Even he nearly lost himself in it. His later invention, the wings of wax and feathers, allowed him and his son Icarus to escape, but Icarus fell. He flew too high, scorched by the sun. Not because he was arrogant, but because he was untethered. This is what happens when we try to escape the work. We climb into fantasies or sink into despair, but both are ways of avoiding the spiral inward. Mystics across traditions understood this. The Cloud of Unknowing urged seekers to abandon intellect and embrace mystery. Zen spoke of Shoshin, beginner's mind, free of preconception. Alchemy described Nigredo, the blackening, as the necessary death before rebirth. The map is not the territory, and losing it is the point. To modern depth psychology, the monster is not out there. It is inside you. The Minotaur is the part of you split by years of expectation, fear, and neglect. It is your addictions, your rage, your shame, your compulsions. But it is also your power, your instinct, your boundary, your voice. Jung called this holding the tension of opposites, bearing the weight of two truths at once, refusing to collapse into either side. You become real not by defeating the monster, but by standing in its presence without running. This is not slaying. It is integration. So stop asking when it will get easier. It will not. Because you are not meant to return as you were. You are not meant to escape the labyrinth. You are meant to become it. To grow horns not as a curse but as a crown. To breathe in darkness, not just to survive it but to claim it. To echo not from emptiness, but as the return of your own voice. This is not redemption. It is recognition. You don't leave the maze. Because the maze was never outside you. The maze was always you. And if you want to keep walking through the hidden paths of myth, religion, and the shadows within, stay with us here on Totum Vox. Subscribe and step further into the labyrinth.